you doing, everybody? My name is Dean Olson. I am a songwriter, radio host, and producer from Orange County, California, and I'm really just an average guy who loves to make music. But when I get behind a microphone, I become the StrongWriter on the radio, helping songwriters and artists keep musically fit. Now, the way I love to do that is through faith and hope and encouragement, by taking in the stories and experiences told to me by my wonderful guests, and by learning from the best in the business and passing it along to you. And now I want to welcome you to another beautiful day for a fantastic show. And as I enjoy a brisk California December afternoon, I have the pleasure of visiting with a creative singer-songwriter based right here in nearby Los Angeles. The man on the screen with me is Jeff Fowler. And on November 26th, he released a holiday EP called Just in Time for Christmas, and it hatched a great single called Christmas of My Heart. I've enjoyed that one. We're going to get to hear it today and talk about it. It is my honor to welcome to the show, Mr. Jeff Fowler.
Thanks, Dean. Good to be here.
All right.
I'm glad that we're doing this over Zoom, so I wouldn't have to drive down the 405 freeway through all that traffic to come see you.
Sounds nice. What kind of life do you have driving in traffic? Or do you have to do that going back and forth to studios or to a day job, or what is life for you as a musician?
Well, luckily, not a lot of driving these days, particularly since the pandemic. But when I do drive, sometimes it's the best chance I have to listen to a mix or think of a song. Driving can be a meditative experience. I recently got a puppy who is now my passenger. And so he and I now drive together. He doesn't talk a lot, but he's a good companion.
Well, they always are. You know, we have three of them. So there's sometimes they take up all your time without even talking to you. So they find a way to wiggle their way into your heart and to your consciousness, and that's a good thing. I'm glad. I hope you're enjoying the new puppy.
Thanks, I am.
Great.
In fact, I wrote a song. I wrote a song called "Welcome Friend to Your Life," which I wrote right when I got the little guy. He was 8 weeks old, and it inspired me to write a song. And I put it on my YouTube page. And sure enough, of course, putting a bunch of puppy videos along with the music was a good inspiration for people to come take a look. And so I've have that video on YouTube, and I've enjoyed going back to it and seeing when he was just a really little puppy.
And they grow up so fast, don't they?
Yeah.
Welcome, friend, to your life. Don't lose your grip. There's much to ignore. A curious notion growing with me will fetch a few good times. Your loyal persuasion, a will to succeed, a wag of the tail is all that you need. Pardon me if I'm trite, but now you're my best friend. Bark as you might, I will always be with you, and together we'll make it all right. Welcome, friend, to your life. Welcome, friend, to your life. To your life. To your life.
How was that received, that video?
Well, funny enough, it was, of course, very well received. I think because of the cuteness of the little puppy, but it was a fun thing to do. And what I did essentially was I wrote and recorded the song, and the video is clips of he and I getting to know each other and growing up. So
that's great. Yeah,
it's near and dear to my heart.
So it sounds like a lot of people enjoyed that. In just the human aspect, people love dog videos, and people love that kind of. Did it get a lot of hits or whatever you say, a lot of views?
Sure, yeah.
Wow,
it did.
Everybody wants that. I don't know how you nobody has a magic formula, but somehow you did something. To touch a nerve.
Is that, it's a lot easier these days to get friends and family to click on a link and see a video than it is to have them sit in their headphones and listen to an album. So
yeah,
things like YouTube and TikTok, of course, have been an incredible way of getting music out there. And I have really enjoyed of late. I kind of came to it late, but just over the last year and a half or so, I've really enjoyed putting out YouTube videos and thinking of the music in terms of both the music itself as well as the visual. So, yeah. I mean, I guess video killed the radio star, they say, but
sometimes it does. Yeah.
Years later, realizing that.
Funny you should mention the putting headphones on there or family listening to albums. I was just talking with a couple of artists about this very subject and how did you feel self-conscious about asking family members, hey, take a look, listen to this album, like either give an opinion or spread the word or something like that? Because it sounds like I have a shyness about that, and I found that other people do too. They kind of feel embarrassed asking their family or their friends to listen to their own material.
Yeah, I went through that as well, and one of the things that I had to learn and appreciate was the fact that you can give friends and family your music, and they just might not be the type to listen to music, and so you can give them something to listen to, and maybe they never do.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that that's okay. And, kind of to accept that there are music people and and people who aren't so into music. And so hopefully you find people who are into music. And I do find that the people who are more interested in music are more likely to listen. And then the great thing about YouTube is you are more likely to get somebody to click on a video these days than you are listen. So it's a little bit of an easier ask.
Right.
It's one, little video. And if you don't like it, you don't have to keep watching. So
sort of occurs to me that's the way it works on Facebook and things like that too, that if you have friends say, hey, I just I have a new single, or I have a single that I haven't played for a while, here, listen to this, and then you find out, well, some people aren't into checking out videos or whatever. They may be more inclined to look at a picture or read an article or something like that, but they won't listen. They won't actually click and play the whole video out. And so it's like, hey, what'd you think of my video? And they'll say, oh yeah, I haven't got a chance to check that out yet.
Well, and YouTube tells you how long the average duration of a view is. And it's always interesting to see that, and you can't let this sort of mess with your creative process, but I often notice that people get through, the verse, pre-chorus, chorus, maybe the verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and then another verse. But it's often the case that they get through just about one round. And then you kind of see the dwindling. So, it's interesting, human behavior, tracked by Google.
Do you think that's indicative of what the song is? Like, how A&R people will listen to a song or whatever, and then they're the ones judging this thing. Oh, well, right out of the bat, it was a long intro, and I'm already out, or that kind of thing. It seems like the analytics might measure that kind of thing too.
Yeah, well, Dean, I'm amazed at I listened to music from 30, 40 years ago. Music that's near and dear to my heart. And I'm amazed at the length of the introductions, at the sort of the tolerance for, music leading up to the chorus. Whereas today, that attention span doesn't exist.
That's right.
So,
well, is that on your end? I was like,
I have to. So it's my handyman working on something.
Oh, okay.
I told him he had to be done by 3. So. Yeah, let me, if we can pause, I'll go tell him.
No problem. We're gonna pause for just a second here for Jeff. Go ahead.
Maybe it's much too early in the game. But I thought I'd ask you just the same. What are you doing New Year's? New Year's Eve. Wonder whose arms will hold you good and tight when it's exactly 12 o'clock that night, welcoming in the new year. New Year's Eve. Maybe I'm crazy to suppose I'd ever be the one you chose out of 1,000 invitations you receive. But in case I stand one little chance, here comes the jackpot question in advance. What are you doing New Year's? New Year's Eve. What are you doing New Year's Eve?
Glad we can talk in peace now, Jeff. So
that's right. Well, I have a handyman here today trying to protect some parts of my house that are not good with California rain.
Oh, good. Good.
We have so little rain that it only becomes urgent when we're about to have rain. So he's hammering away, but he's going to take a break
because we're taping this, for later broadcast. We're getting ready for at least 3 days of good straight rain, but we'll see. But I understand. Yeah, I'm always like batting down the hatches. Even outside, I have to make sure nothing's outside that's going to get damaged, and so that's good. So, Jeff, I wanted to compliment you on the music that I heard. You're no stranger to making these albums. Looks like you've been doing it probably for the last at least 2008. Maybe this goes back a lot farther than that, but that's all I saw with the Side Hey, that era. And time flies, huh? You've been doing this for a bit now.
Yeah, time really does fly. And I've been blessed that I have a couple of collaborators who I started working with on Side Hey, and the three of us have been working together on all of my music since, and it's been 15 years. Pretty amazing how time flies. And I feel very blessed to have found them because the two of them are perfect fits for me. A guy named Wes Stiles and a fantastic drummer named Eli Hludzik. And the three of us have become dear friends and collaborators on all this stuff.
I was going to say with Eli, easy for you to say. I'm glad you pronounce his name, but he probably appreciates that you pronounce it properly too. So good. Always good to have some good people around you. That helps in the creative process and helps egg you on, right, to do more things if they choose to stick with you. Have you been with you for a while doing this?
Yeah, 15 years.
Oh, that's a good run. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and no end in sight.
Great. Glad to hear that. So were they part of this Welcome Friend, that puppy song that we were just talking about?
They were. So, a song like that, I wrote on guitar,
Mm-hmm.
and I brought it to them, and we came up with an arrangement. And then that was during the pandemic. So we recorded remotely, with, each of us contributing certain parts. And ultimately Wes, who is our principal producer engineer, who did the mixing. So we collaborated on that.
How'd you meet them? Was this like a business thing? Did you seek them out, or were you friends that came into this?
No, it's really funny. I was looking for a drummer, and I put out an ad, and one thing led to another, and I found Eli, and then Eli introduced me to Wes. And
oh, great.
Yeah. And it was just sort of natural, just immediate kind of natural chemistry that the three of us had.
Yeah.
Same musical taste, same work ethic. So it really.
And how was that? How'd that come about, or be the accompaniment for a Jeff Fowler project, Jeff Fowler band, in essence?
Yeah, I was looking for a drummer. I had written some songs, the songs I wrote for Side Hey, and I was looking to produce and record that album, and that led me to finding Eli, which then led me to Wes.
What kind of style of music is Side Hey? Is it how would you describe the theme or the genre that you do?
Well, I mean, it's funny how our musical tastes tend to come out whether we intend it to or not. I'm often compared to some of the people whose music I enjoy the most, like Joe Jackson and Elvis Costello.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain 80s influence, which makes sense because that's the music I grew up listening to. And so Side Hey is it's a piano driven singer-songwriter album of, songs that, have a bit of a retro feel. We actually recorded a lot of it on tape. There's a song on that album called Mr. Mason Man, which was sort of one of the more popular songs on the album, that is a sort of a jazz piano style song with a big vocal. And we actually hired some string players to do strings on that. So, it has kind of an eclectic singer-songwriter vibe. So, and that was, funny thing is that was so many years ago. I'm still very proud of that album, but of course, as it, things as it happens, you get sort of better and better.
Yeah.
And so I barely remember at this point, doing that record.
Did you happen to deal with that phenomenon that we were just talking about, or that you're trying to avoid the long intros? Because all the pop radio songs seem to bang right out of the gate. There's a vocal in the very first bar.
Yeah. I have always sort of had the view that I don't write for the listener. I mean, I write what comes to me and what I think sounds good, and I'll let the chips fall. Because if you're chasing that, I think it's much less fulfilling. And there are songs that I've written where I know that, hey, if I do this, it's going to be, more interesting than if I do this. Or if, we have a song on the Christmas album called Frosty the Snowman is Dead, which I knew would be funny. And I knew it would sort of be, kind of a more, kind of clickable video. But, for the most part, we just went for, what we believed sounds good. And kind of the way the word that comes up a lot that we sort of strive for, I think, is mature, finding something musically mature, and I also figure that if someone tells me, hey, that would make a really good, radio song if you edit the this and that. Well, I mean, then, we'll look into that, but in the meantime, when we're writing it, I try to stick with something that's going to, ultimately be creatively interesting and satisfying.
Yeah.
I figure, that's a better bet.
It is. Yeah. I kind of agree with you and sort of align with you in that whole thing. Cause, right to impress yourself, if it sounds like something you would actually go out and listen to, run it up and see if everybody else likes it too. But if not, then you've made something good. If anything, you impressed yourself, and that's kind of worth it in a way, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, and I'm very lucky because, Wes and Eli, I'm a singer-songwriter. And although I play guitar and keys and such, I'm primarily a singer. And Wes and Eli are just these incredible instrumentalists. So I have the enjoyment of bringing something to them and watching them turn it into something, that almost seems inhuman. There's a great, our cover of Steppin' Out, Joe Jackson's song, which is on, we did a cover of it for YouTube during the pandemic. And the joke of the video is that we weren't going anywhere.
You weren't stepping out at all.
Yeah, you see us, washing dishes and watching TV, but in that video, Eli does, that's a drum machine part that Joe Jackson created, and Eli does it live, and also plays the xylophone on the melody at the beginning. So he's got one hand doing the xylophone, and while his feet and his other hand is doing the rhythm. You can see it on the video.
I'll have to check that out because I didn't see that one yet. So
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like that song.
Get into a car and drive to the other side. Step out into the night, into the light. You babe, step
Yeah, you mentioned Elvis Costello, but Joe Jackson is one of those guys I admired back then because every album he came out with, he sort of changed. He played with a different style of music. So
incredible musician.
I loved that guy. Yeah. So as I'm rambling, I'm ignoring this great album that you just released. So maybe you can tell me a little about. This was your first attempt at making a Christmas record?
So yes, this is our first Christmas record.
Okay.
And it's based on, or the bedrock of it are 3 original Christmas songs. One that we wrote, we were actually working on an album I have called The Air Nostalgic, which is an album of 80s covers. Yeah. And Wes and I were knee deep in producing that album, where we were being true to all of those productions and sticking with analog production ourselves and really geeking out on the details. And on a sort of quiet Christmas week day, he and I were in the middle of that, and I had this idea for a Christmas song. And instead of doing what we were supposed to do, which was work on that 80s album, we ended up finishing this Christmas song, just sort of whipping it out.
Yeah.
And that was the first. And then we realized, oh, hey, this is fun. So we did another one. And then Frosty the Snowman is Dead came kind of on the eve of getting this album together. And we released it around Thanksgiving. And it's been out there, and Christmas of My Heart is the single, and it's getting some radio play out there in the US, and which has been really fun. And I've been talking to great people like yourself.
Thank you.
And I'm thrilled. It's been really fun. It's a good way to spend the holidays.
Well, yes, I do. Yeah, I'm enjoying the album. What I've heard of it, I've heard the What Are You Doing New Year's Eve? That was wonderful. And then Frosty Snowman's Dead. I heard that. But let's let's put a magnifying glass over Christmas of My Heart. Tell me a little bit about, how you thought that up, and was it just something that came to you, or did you have to put some thought into making this?
That was one of those songs that came to me really fast. I had the basics of the idea, particularly the verses when I brought it to Wes, and then he and I whipped it out pretty fast. And then we were excited because we heard it as a sort of having kind of an 80s Huey Lewis sort of vibe. And so we got a sax player, a buddy of Wes's, who's a fantastic horn player named Alex Budman, agreed to quickly do the sax solo. It came together really fast, and we were super excited about it. And then, it was sort of it was too late to release it on Christmas. I mean, because, it was like, by the time we were done, it was like Christmas Day. And so we played it for some of our family and friends and then held it in our back pockets. That's kind of how that came about.
Where are you going this Christmas? Who is the lucky guy this year? All alone on my snowman's throne, wishing that you were near. Where are you going this Christmas? Might be too far. Snowflakes cloud my mind, the cold burns inside. There's no Yuletide without you. This time of year always makes it crystal clear, and I know right from the start I hold most dear, whether far or near, the Christmas of my heart. Where are you going this Christmas? I know it's warmer there than here. The way you glow under the mistletoe once filled my heart with cheer. I sit by the tree, reflect on memories, drowning in our Christmas past. This time of year always makes it crystal clear, and I know right from the start of those I hold most dear, whether far or near, you're the Christmas of my heart. On memories, drowning in our Christmas past. This time of year always makes it crystal clear, and I know right from the start of those I hold most dear, whether far or near, the Christmas of my heart. You're the Christmas of my heart. You're the Christmas
That's a nice component of the Huey Lewis sound, is to have that horn section. But sax is good. That did the trick. Yeah. Now, anytime you do one of these videos, it's always fun. I've done that too. Is the video sort of an afterthought, so you have something visual for the people to enjoy, or did you have something in mind when you made these original songs?
Well, Frosty the Snowman is Dead was a bit more of a visual. That was one that I was a little bit more sort of a combination where I knew it would be a visual song. Yeah. And the funny thing is, I do think that doing more YouTube videos has me in that frame of mind where I start thinking about lyrics that would be funny or things that would be funny to depict visually.
Yeah.
So, I have a whole crop of songs now that I wrote during the pandemic that have all sorts of different, kind of potential visual aspects to them. And so as we release them in the coming year, I'm looking forward to doing those videos. At first, the idea of doing a music video, it was like, I enjoy being in the studio. I enjoy writing the song. The idea of then, being under lights and trying to perform it, for the cameras was sort of less interesting to me. But now that I'm doing it more often, it's become quite fun. And I've got some good collaborators on that front as well. A guy named Trevor Hollander is a fantastic cinematographer who is at the core of my video production group. And so, we're having fun kind of thinking about different things we can do. So my next year is going to be, I think largely dedicated to releasing new songs and corresponding them with cool videos. That's the idea.
It was a cool video. Frosty the Snowman is Dead. Now that kids all over America are crying now because of that. But what was what's the big idea with that? Is this supposed to be an anti-Frosty song? Was you just thought this was a cool little idea, a cool little concept, and you made a big song out of it? Because it sounds sounds like I have never heard that before. So you'd be the first one to come up with that one, I think.
Well, I thought of it. I just thought it'd be funny. The concept that, with global warming and all the environmental issues that we're having, what happens to Frosty the Snowman? So I thought it would be kind of clever to pronounce him dead. And that's how it came about.
I'm laughing at Frosty's expense. I'm very sorry, Frosty, but you asked for it. You are made of snow for in California. You can't do it. Yeah, I saw the video. It was a little silly, a lot of fun. Like you just had a lot of fun with this. Not too serious, just a cool little concept, and you did it. But it was worth putting on your EPs. So I had to ask you.
I will say the funny thing about that video is that there's I'm forgetting his name, but it's in the credits. But his the actor that we hired to get the Frosty costume on.
Yeah.
It was 90 degrees that day. And he was running through Hollywood in that outfit. It's amazing that he survived.
Yeah. He was losing a lot of weight. It sounded. He was kind of a skinny Frosty.
Yeah. So we had a good time.
Well, great.
Frosty the Snowman is dead. It's been a long, hot summer. Ice caps melting, Christmas trees burning. No one even thought to check if he was breathing. Frosty the Snowman is dead. Expect a warmer winter. Hurricanes blowing, water overflowing, except in California where the redwoods are starving. His cornpipe is on eBay, his top hat is an ashtray. He sold his ukulele to a rich Israeli. Frosty the Snowman is dead. Frosty, you made us smile. You didn't have to melt, but we had to fuel our lifestyle. Frosty, it's not your fault. Our air-conditioned souls just couldn't stop the sun's assault. Frosty the Snowman, Frosty the Snowman. Frosty, Frosty, Frosty. It's been a long, hard winter. Frosty's influenza inflamed his emphysema. The cold hurt his eyesight, the cold gave him frostbite. He didn't pay his taxes, refused to get his vaccines. His diabetes scarred him because he never went to the gym. To the gym. Frosty the snowman, Frosty the snowman, Frosty the snowman is dead.
Just in time for Christmas. I think that's. Did you make a video for that one too? I mean, or did you make videos for all 5 of these songs on your thing?
Yes, all 5, and and that video was released 2 hours ago.
Good grief! Nice.
Now on YouTube, just in time for Christmas.
Okay.
And that's a really fun song. My sister just texted me and said that that she hears Sade in that song. It's got kind of a a tropical R&B flavor.
Okay.
So that was a fun song to do. And so, yeah, we released the video today. It's part of the EP. And I guess we did it just in time for Christmas. Amazing that, now that I've done that, I've got to make sure I've got my Christmas gifts and, get all lined up for the actual Christmas coming up.
Yeah. It's good to have your sister giving some feedback, and it's weird how other people will tell you what they heard in that song, and you had, oh wow, was that right? I didn't even notice. That's not what I intended, but I like how it was a compliment, right? At least it was. Sade sounds good. Those are my influences, all 80s influences, how I used to create my music too, but mine was more of like Simply Red and Sade and Swing Out Sister and all those type. Level 42, anything with a real sophisticated jazz influence. That was sort of what I wanted to do. I didn't want to play jazz, but I wanted to play something that sounded sophisticated like that. So I like your style, how you're influenced by some good stuff. Like when you were talking about Joe Jackson and Elvis Costello, that's what you grew up with is what you gravitated to, and you wanted to hear more of it, and almost a nostalgia, right? For you want to create something fresh that sounds a little bit like what was made back then.
That's right. Which is we have this album of 80s songs called The Air Nostalgic.
Right. Yeah.
And the idea of that was to celebrate songs that meant something to us, Wes and me. And then it culminates with an original song called The Air Nostalgic. And it's about, essentially our memories and the people in our lives that, that we are reminded of when we hear those songs.
Yeah. I'm glad we sort of brought our way back to Air Nostalgia, because I wanted to ask you a little bit about that, just the creation of it. And you were talking about how you labored over the production styles and, on each one of them, but that would drive me crazy. I mean, I've tried to do stuff like that because first of all, you got to have a budget, but the time consumed and the energy that you consume, you got to be up to the task. Did you feel you had plenty of energy to go around? Were you passionate enough to do this kind of thing that you didn't feel tired making it?
No, I didn't, but it took a long time. And, and we were really committed to being true to the quality of the original recordings. So there was a lot of investment, both of, time and money, making sure that those arrangements, were true to the the greatness of the originals. So we didn't cut any corners. And, I think you can hear that in the mixes. So I'm really proud of it.
I'll Be Home for Christmas. That's the one we didn't talk about. Now, did you do any particular take on that, or did it kind of traditional?
Yeah, it was more of a traditional take. it was that actually is a song that we recorded during the pandemic, and shortly after I told my parents that for the very first time in my life I would not be coming home for Christmas, and so it meant something to me to sing it. And what's kind of interesting about that recording is when you can see the video, I'm actually outside. Well, one of the things that I wanted to see if it would work is to actually sing outside by the fire. And we did it. And I did it, remotely. I recorded it here. And Wes was at his studio and recorded his part. And, we put it together, and I'm happy that it sort of lived up quality wise. Kind of fun to have sang out. I mean, the funny thing, the thing that I was always sort of imagining is my neighbors, because I did a bunch of takes. It's like, what were people, thinking, hearing this guy sing "I'll Be Home for Christmas"? Of course, I'm listening in headphones, so it's just me. Mm-hmm. So there's no, I'm singing to myself. So I often, wonder if anyone heard me walking their dog, thinking, "Who's singing in the?"
I guess we're not doing CDs anymore, but maybe you are. Are you selling these as CDs or streaming and, like digital downloads or anything like that?
Just digital downloads and streaming, not CDs. But, the one thing about a digital record that I'm glad to see we're moving maybe more towards a tangible album is, one of the great things about buying an album in the old days was you could grab onto it and feel it, and you could see the pictures, in the album cover. You could read the credits, and it was a thing. You could buy it for someone for Christmas,
Absolutely.
I do think that that's part of what I noticed when I was sort of, walking through and looking at these new records, is that it's a way to give someone a gift of this music. And so it is a great gift for Christmas. I can really see why. My understanding is that Adele's album is flying off the shelves, the vinyl, and I can see why. It's something to be able to give someone, so
yeah. I was always disappointed when I would get an album and it didn't have enough content for you to mess with besides the music. If it didn't have lyrics, that's one thing, but if it didn't have at least some pictures and some credits, I just wanted to see something about it. And they would do that a lot with CDs, depending on how they distributed them. RCA would have a CD. I go, oh, great, let me open it up, and it's nothing. It's just a blank page. And I go, I wanted to find out who played on this, and who was singing background, and that kind of thing. So yeah. I was a little curious about how you got started. I have a little piece of paper that sort of has this cool little sentence here. You were plucked out of the church choir at 9 years old and thrust into superstardom, singing the Little Drummer Boy. I like that. Everybody's got a little story to start out with. Let's just assume for a second that that's entirely how the legend of Jeff Fowler starts. What goes on from that point? Do you put music aside and go to school and do some, or was music always part of your consciousness growing up?
Well, music was always part of my consciousness, but I also went to school and never really realized that I had to choose music over anything else. It was always just so ingrained in my life. So I went on to UC Berkeley for undergrad, and then UC Hastings for law school, became a lawyer, and moved to LA with the intention of pursuing an acting career, and pounded the pavement looking for some acting work here and there. Eventually, I fell into a fantastic job at a law firm here in Los Angeles, who has been incredibly supportive of my music endeavors from day one.
Well, that's fortunate. Good.
And I'm still with that law firm. It's been 25 years, and I'm I'm just incredibly blessed and grateful for my partners who have been some of my greatest fans and supporters. I feel very blessed. So I practice law still to this day, and pursue my music at the same time.
Wow, great. So has it always been that way? You were a lawyer, and then you were, when you have the chance, you start making music.
Yeah, it was always. I never, I grew up in a family that always had. My grandfather used to, he had a job, but would come home at night and work on his furniture. And my uncle had a job, would come home at night and work on his cars. So it never occurred to me that that there was anything unique about coming home from work and writing my songs. And I have been pretty religious about that throughout my legal career. And there are times where the legal career demands much more of my attention, and I have to do that. And then there are other times, like right now, where it's Christmas and I'm promoting an album where I'm putting a lot of energy into my Christmas music. So, I have always felt very blessed, because as a result of that, job and income, I have never had to concern myself with whether my music was good or not.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm going to write this music. I'm going to put it out there. And luckily, I don't need it to put food on the table. So
right.
Hopefully people will listen. And it's always been so amazing to me and so heartwarming to me that people have been so receptive of it. And also that people are interested in the fact that I have this other career, which you were mentioning in the beginning of our talk, some of the embarrassment or the shyness of putting music out there. And for me, the version of that was kind of most compelling for me was the concern that people would not take me seriously in one career or another. And having to get over that, and realizing that, people are always interested in knowing, if you're doing a creative pursuit, there's always an interest because there are people out there who love music, so it's been really great. It's been quite a journey, and the journey in my mind is in many ways just beginning, because I'm, really looking forward in the next few years to making more and more music.
You find there's some stability in having a career that's not really related to your music career?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice. It's a luxury,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can sort of, I've talked to some people, because that's what I do. I have something that's totally unrelated to what I do right here. And I feel that I can sort of turn that off. I can turn that life off now, and I can come over here, and that's why I call myself the StrongWriter. I almost assume a new identity when I come over here, and a lot of people just assume this is what I've done all my life. And this is one of these things I, much like you, at 9 years old, had these dreams of one day maybe making some music on your own. I bet I was always, my mom can sort of pinpoint the day I got a tape recorder and started talking into a mic and try to. I wanted to pursue this kind of stuff, but I chose to take a different path and go to school for different things. And late in life, I started doing this. So I sort of relate a little bit. And I've done music, but not released it in the way you have. I think you've had 3 albums previous to this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can only assume that Air Nostalgic must have hit a nerve with some people. I think that I would be interested in that. So I really am intrigued, and I want to hear it. So all this stuff is available if you go to a site.
That's right. It's all available everywhere. Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, Amazon.
How do you find it? Jeff Fowler, you're not the only one out there, I'm sure. That's named
right.
This.
Jeff Fowler Music.
Yeah.
Jeff Fowler Music. I'm at jefffowlermusic.com. My YouTube channel is Jeff Fowler Music. And I'm out there. Come subscribe.
Let's see if I can make a checklist here. Are you, let's see, is Jeff Fowler a musician? Yes, I got that. Is Jeff Fowler an actor? Yes or no?
I used to be.
Okay, that's what I thought I saw there. Yeah.
I was on an episode of the Gilmore Girls years ago.
That qualifies you as being in the business. Now you are a bona fide actor, I guess, right? What was the Gilmore Girls gig?
It was, I played a small part in an episode. The character's name was Bob. And it was a fun little thing. The funny thing about that is that it ended up, because I was not, this was a little bit early in the days of IMDb.
Yeah.
My credit shows up attributed to a different Jeff Fowler, a director.
That's now you know why I'm asking you, because I came up with the director, Jeff Fowler there. So I said, hey, I told my wife, hey, I think I'm interviewing a famous director too. So
that's the other Jeff Fowler.
Oh, but that's cool. What was your experience? Was it cool getting a little, was it fun doing the Gilmore Girls thing? Sort of like a one-off, and then you went on to do other stuff, right?
It was. At that point I was doing, odds and ends. It's the one thing that, where I ended up on screen and that is available. I was doing other, independent films and little things at that time. But it's the one title that people all know. So, and it was super fun. It was a great day, and it was really cool.
I think I looked it up, 2002, when the show was kind of early. So you were like in the beginning of that show, I think. So.
Yeah. Wow. 2002. Time flies.
Well, that's what I read. So, I'm trying. Yeah. I don't do a lot of research on my guests, but because I want to be surprised. But I just I wanted to sort of set the record straight. You are not Jeff Fowler, director of Sonic the Hedgehog. Okay, I got that.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And he is not Bob from the Gilmore Girls.
No, he's not. So anyway, yeah. And the picture I don't think was you either. I don't know. I couldn't tell. Yeah. So I said, well, it could, maybe it is him. So let's figure this out. But you are Jeff Fowler, the attorney or the lawyer. So,
yes, I am. Yes.
Good. All right. Enough of me screwing around. Actually, I was actually serious. I did want to know all that stuff, so I didn't make a mistake and start promoting you for the wrong reasons. But I like Jeff Fowler, the singer, songwriter, musician. With his buddies Wes and Eli. It sounds like a really comfortable and satisfying life you've carved out for yourself here. You got the best of both.
Well, thanks for that, Dean. I appreciate it. I feel very grateful and blessed. And I'm looking forward to Christmas and the holidays, and and to see what happens in 2022.
Well, I am enjoying the backdrop. I'm glad you picked the room that you're in to do this visit, because I miss those days of creating music. But are those actual playable instruments, or have you touched those things up on the wall for a while? You have other ones?
They are. Yeah, no, I'm in my studio. This is a working room. Yeah,
those are the real instruments you play. Okay, yeah,
they are. Yeah, and I play them pretty regularly, as with the two keyboards behind you. And there's more stuff here. I've got a pretty decent rig. So
I have a particular artist that who's a friend of mine, and he loves. I've interviewed him a couple of times, but you can never have too many guitars. That's what he says. I just don't know how. And I like to play guitars too, and I'd love to have a bunch, but to have so many to choose from, each one has a different sound or a different personality when you pick it up. You think?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Obviously, you have some acoustics. Any of them was acoustic electric slash?
No, I mean the two acoustics. I mean, one of them has a pickup in it if I need it, but I play them as acoustics.
Yeah. When you're in that room, do you ever sort of screw around in the room and come up with ideas that way, or do most of your ideas sort of hit you when you're somewhere else, like driving in the car or in the shower, that type of thing?
I'd say most of them happen here in the room.
Okay.
Occasionally things will come up in my mind outside, but I generally find that they come to me when I'm in my space. And so my space is very important. And I go through various, times where I move things around and you know, try to make it as comfortable as possible, because it really is where my music comes from.
Yeah.
So
you like to play, it looks like, according to that room, sort of pick up the guitar and play a little bit, and maybe I'll create something new here just for today.
Yeah, I often, though, my lyrics often come with my...
Do they?
The beginnings of the lyrics come with the music, typically, for me.
It's all a mixed bag, right? You know, sometimes it works that way. Sometimes you might have like the little germ of an idea, and then do you run to your room and say, I got to put this down and see what develops, you know?
Yeah, the phone is a fantastic device now for capturing ideas, because you can just quickly record it on your phone.
I hope you don't do what I do, is I have a lot of stuff on my phone, and then I fill up my phone with a lot of ideas that I haven't purged yet, you know. That
can happen. You stumble on them later. Yeah.
So it's just the equivalent of, you know, a bunch of notes, Post-it notes around the room, or just a bunch of pages, and trying to organize it all. All these first world problems that songwriters have, you know. So anyway, I'll tell you what, I know I'm just rambling, but I wanted to at least convey to you, if nothing else, that I appreciate you coming on and talking like this, because this is what I live for, just to talk about writing songs, and love to promote anybody's music, and especially when I listen to it and I go, I like this stuff. It's you know, it's not hard at all to promote it. So.
Well, thanks, Dean. I really appreciate it. It's such a pleasure to meet you, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah,
to be with you today.
Hopefully, we can talk another time. You know, I understand that you're going to have another album, or you got some big plans in 2022. So
yeah, I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, if you're ready for it, you know. But
yeah, great.
I hope you get a lot of mileage out of this one, and hopefully, this will be a perennial favorite. Everybody will like this new Christmas album called "Just in Time for Christmas." That's the title of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and Christmas of My Heart, which we talked about. A lot of great songs on here. You're going to enjoy it. 3 are original and 2 favorites that you're going to like. And he does them in classic style, so you're not going to be thrown off the track. He ends on a high note, and it's wonderful. And Jeff Fowler has a site, maybe. Is it jefffowler.com, Jeff Fowler Music, anything like that?
jefffowlermusic.com.
Got it. jefffowlermusic.com. I want to thank you so much for coming on, Jeff. You've been great. And Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Look forward to getting this out and spreading the word about your new stuff.
Well, thanks, Dean. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Take care of yourself. Jeff Fowler, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll see you.
Take care of yourself. Bye-bye now. For more information on Jeff Fowler's music, including Just in Time for Christmas and other delightful creative songs, please visit Jeff Fowler's website, jefffowlermusic.com. That's jefffowlermusic.com. Thanks for listening. I got to get out of here. Enjoy your holiday season. And until next time, this is Dean Olson, the StrongWriter on the radio, signing off for now and saying to you all, let's all put our best pens forward, just like Jeff Fowler, and be strong writers together. Now, go forth, have a wonderful weekend. God bless, take care, and we'll talk to you next time. Goodbye now. You've been listening to StrongWriter on the radio, as heard on the Dean Olson radio program, and heard all across America on Power Me Up Radio, powered by Raven International.